Hi guys, it's the real Jack and Ferg here. Just a quick reminder about our Patreon.
All sorts of juicy content on there if you sign up to support us.
There are outtakes, there are bonus episodes, there are show notes on every single show where we talk about what we thought about when we made the horrible thing.
Rejected titles, all sorts.
There's a tier that gives you full access to the Google Doc.
No one signed up to that tier yet, Jack.
But if they did, they would see everything.
They would see... Basically, for like the first 10 episodes, they would see sort of quite detailed bullet point plans of the episode.
Yeah.
But not after that.
No.
After that, it's a lot messier. They would see rough plans for the future. You would see the bullet point about what's going to happen with Chris at the end of season 2.
Ooh, a little secret there for you.
We don't plan a lot ahead, but that is we know what's happening.
You can also get a t-shirt on that tier. And if you want a t-shirt anyway, just head over to sharkman.cottoncart.com and you can get a great Sharkman tee designed by Niamh Simpson. They're awesome. Check it out. I've got one. Ferg still hasn't ordered his own.
It's got a version of my face on it. I don't know. I find that odd. Personally, that's me personally, but I think you should buy it, listeners.
Anyway, thanks for listening and hope you enjoy the episode.
It's just another Sharkman podcast.
Hello and welcome to Just Another Sharkman podcast, your chance to plug into all the latest news, movies and events in the Sharkman film franchise. I'm Jack and I'm here with my best pal, it's Fergus.
Hello listeners, and by golly, do we have some events and some news for you today.
That's right listeners, the Dark Squid test footage has been leaked and is everywhere across every social media channel and people are freaking out, aren't they, Ferg?
They are freaking out. So this is test footage from the new Dark Squid reboot that Will, head of story for Sharkman Studios, our former friend and co-host, open quotes, mass murderer, close quotes, has been working on. They're sort of in pre-production at the moment. They've shot some test footage. They're still working on the script. And this test footage have leaked. And it's pandemonium.
That's right, Ferg. It is a disaster. And Sharkman Studios have been tweeting about it. And they've just been tweeting in all caps, who fucking did this?
Who did this?
Who fucking did this? I'll get you. I'll stab you. I'll get you. And I'm so cross. And it's just... Ferg, I've never seen the social medias behave like this before.
And that's the question on everyone's lips, is who did this? It must have been someone, surely on the inside, but nobody knows who. The CEO, Will, everyone over at Sharkman Studios is absolutely furious. And they've put out, there's no other way to phrase this, listeners, a bounty. They've put a bounty on whoever did this.
That is right, Ferg, and we're obviously not allowed to talk about the leaked footage.
No, we can't discuss the actual content of the test footage.
If we do that, they'll get us.
They will very much come for us. Mm-hmm. They'll get us.
And I don't want to imagine what happens next. There is, however, a clause in the bounty, Ferg. A clause that really took my eye.
Do tell.
It says in the small print at the bottom of the poster...
The wanted poster.
Which they distributed on old paper.
And it has a face with a question mark in it.
Yeah, you can't find... It's not online. It's just...
It's nailed to trees.
Trees and posts.
Yeah.
But there were so many posters and they were put up so fast.
Yeah.
I just don't know how that happened. Anyway, Ferg, what I'm talking about is the small print.
Yeah.
And if you look down there, it says... weirdly specific.
Yeah.
Weirdly, drives the plot. It's very strange. In the small print, Ferg, it reads that any podcaster who works out who leaked the footage gets exclusive rights to talk about the leaked footage on the podcast.
Wow, that's incredible. Jack.
It is, Ferg.
Let's get on it. Let's find out what's happening.
I'm going to stop you right there, Ferg.
Okay.
I think you're forgetting something about me.
Yes, probably. What is your name?
It's Jack, Ferg.
Yeah, no, I did. I absolutely knew that.
But what I was talking about was my secret ability, Ferg. My hidden power.
Can you, bend your finger back?
I'm a detective, Ferg. I'm a detective.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm a detective, Ferg. And
I thought we were over this, Jack.
And I've already done my investigations.
Jack.
And I've recorded them.
You started going on with this detective bullshit literally a year ago.
And I brought them along with my cassette player.
And I humoured it, Jack.
And I've edited onto the cassette player and I'm going to play that into the mic and we're going to listen to my interviews, Ferg. And I'm going to reveal who leaked the footage.
Let's go for it, sure, whatever.
Alright, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking you through live right now what I did, and then I'll play you the interviews.
You're going to narrate.
Hopefully by the end of this episode, I'll have worked out who did it, because I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure it'll come.
Okay.
So picture this.
Okay.
One sec, going to put a bit of music on.
Jesus Christ.
Alright. Well, it was a dark and stormy morning.
Jack, you're so close to the mic.
I woke up as I always do, checked my phone immediately, and I opened my Twitter feed. And as you know, Ferg, I only follow one account. Sharkman Studios. And I checked that Twitter feed.
You don't follow me.
Fuck, I'll follow you now.
We've been over.
Do you have a Twitter?
Do I have a Twitter?
Anyway,
Do I have a Twitter?
what I was doing is I checked the Twitter and I saw the outrage and I thought, you know who this is a job for? Jack the detective. And so I got up and I put on my trilby and my long coat. I reached into my pocket and I took out my vape. My Sharkman Studios vape, and I walked out into the cold morning air of SharkCon, and I breathed in the vape. And I felt the taste of that Sharkman flavour vape through my Sharkman vape, on my Sharkman tongue, on my tongue.
Jack, has this whole thing just been an excuse for you to use your vape?
Ferg, no, it's not about the vape. I'm just conjuring conjuring an image, okay? Back to it. So I walked through the cold morning of SharkCon and I made some appointments via Twitter DMs to my 2 lead suspects. I walked down one of the many aisles of SharkCon and I saw the stalls just opening up for the day. The plushie stall, another plushie stall, and I waved at my friend who runs the other plushie stall.
Jane?
Yeah, Jane.
Nice. Sorry. You know she runs the plushie stall?
What?
You know she runs the plushie stall?
Yeah, I just said that.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
And while I walked I thought, who's at the centre of this? Well, Will, our friend and former co-host. He's been making Dark Squid. As I walked down the aisle, a Sharkman flyer walked past me, pinning up wanted posters. And I turned to the boy and I shook him and I said, I've got it. I've goddamn got it. I've got to talk to Will's butler. So I hopped on the subway and I took a trip to the Sharkman Mansion's estates. The Sharkman Mansion's estates reserved for the most powerful and most influential employees at Sharkman Studios.
Yeah.
That's right, so there are 2 houses, Ferg. The first is the Sharkman CEO's house. It's massive. It's so fucking huge. It's this high-tech, high-security building. Looks a bit like a hotel.
A lot of glass.
Loads of glass. So many swimming pools. And next to it, Ferg, there's Will's house. Will's house is a giant red brick country manor with horses on carts bustling through the highly manicured gardens.
It's weird.
It's pretty weird, Ferg. Anyway, I snuck round to the servants' entrance. I knocked on the door and I said, "Hello, it's Jack. Can I come in? I just want to meet. I want to talk to the butler." And wouldn't you know it, the gambit worked. The door creaked open, and I was invited inside, into the servants' quarters. And at the end of the table, there he was, buttering some toast. Will's personal butler.
Jack, you're way too close to the mic.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I was wondering if you could just say your name and your occupation into the microphone, please.
Into the microphone?
Yes, just here.
Hello, my name is Mortimer McDuffet, from a long line of McDuffets, and I am the butler to Master William.
So, you are with Will most of the time, correct?
That's correct, yes.
You're in charge of his plans and his schedule.
Oh, I don't like to degrade it to that sort of level. I like to say I'm a sort of concierge maitre d' to Master William.
I see. Now, you of course have access to all of Will's personal information, his plans, etc. So I put to you that you had access to the Dark Squid test footage.
Did you want a piece of toast?
Oh, yes, please.
There you are.
Thank you very much.
Dark Squid test footage. Yes, I have seen parts of the Dark Squid test footage.
But you don't have access yourself?
No, not personally.
Right, so tell me what you were doing the day the footage was leaked.
That was a Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Right, let me just get the planners out. They're just up here. Sorry, let me find the correct one.
At this point, Ferg, what he did is he took down a gigantic ring binder labelled Wednesday.
Wednesday, right. So at 9 a.m, I cooked Master William his breakfast. It was an Eggs Benedict in his favourite pan and his favourite cup, which is, of course, a Sharkman cup, obviously. At 9:30, he came down and we had a brief browse of the Daily Mail. At 10 o'clock, we went out for a quick swim in the swimming pool and we recorded a new personal best. He got 15 lengths of the pool in just under 4 minutes. From 11 till 2 is what we collectively like to call thinking time or breathing space. This is where Master William marches up and down the patio and throws knives at various members of the staff while spouting ideas for new Sharkman ideas. It was here that he reminded me that today was the day that he was going to leak the Dark Squid test footage. At 3 o'clock, a group from the local church came round asking for donations. I promptly told them to bugger off. And at 4 o'clock, we had some afternoon tea. This was a mixture of sort of jam, scones, and a sort of a Western Hungarian tea, which I brew specifically for him. From 5 till 8, Master William undertook his tantric meditation. At about 8 o'clock, he began his Twitter tirade, and particularly his brainstorming session, where we think about ideas, sort of fresh new ideas on how we could murder the Sharkman CEO. Then I got the car ready. This was about 9 o'clock. We placed our balaclavas over our heads and made a quick stop for a bag of chips. At 11 o'clock, we pulled up outside the Sharkman archives, where he turned to me and with a stern but pleasant face said, "I'm now going to leak the Dark Squid test footage," and he promptly went inside after I'd wished him good luck. I undertook the crossword, the Sharkman crossword, for which every answer is 8 letters long. He returned about 12 o'clock sharp, turned to me with a stern but pleasant face and said, "I've now leaked the Dark Squid test footage." We then drove home, had a quick nightcap of a mint Baileys, and went to bed.
Hang on, so what you're saying is that you drove to the Sharkman archives at 11 p.m?
Yes, we drove in the Bentley.
And then you're saying that you were at the Sharkman archives for an hour?
That's right, doing the crossword.
Doing the crossword. I see. A clever lie. I was onto his game. He couldn't fool me. Now, do you remember what one of the answers in the crossword was?
Well, I'm not going to tell you there.
Why not?
Because I want to win the prize.
What's the prize?
I believe it's a Sharkman plushie.
I thought he was lying, but you can't make stuff like that up. So, in your professional opinion, Mortimer, who leaked the Dark Squid test footage?
The CEO.
We'd begun to scratch the surface, but I knew I had to do more digging.
Mint humbug?
Oh, yes, please. So, Ferg, what do you think?
Well, from that interview,
Yeah.
It sounds like Will was very much. It sounds like Will did it.
Well, that's what it obviously seems like, Ferg.
Really, obviously.
But that's what a lay person might think. Someone who was only thinking at the basic level. But when you're a detective like me, Ferg, what you got to do is you got to keep your eyes out for what you might have missed. Just because someone says someone did something doesn't mean that they did it, Ferg.
Doesn't it?
Right, Ferg, I'm going to take the mic, I'm going to get back into the detective mode, and we're going to go on with the story, okay?
Don't put it so close to your face this time.
So, I left, letting the door to the staff entrance creak behind me. I was happy, and I skipped down the path. I could feel it, I was already so close to finding out who leaked the footage. My next stop was to meet the archivist, who works in the Sharkman archives. Being an archivist is a thankless job. You're born into the position, and you're stuck there all your life, spending all your time sorting and arranging different bits of Sharkman material, just lots of Sharkman crap, just trying to put it in the right order all the time. You get a new bit and you have to put it back in the right order again. A lot of resentment, the perfect motive, the perfect access to the material. Seeing as the archive was under investigation by Sharkman Studio Security, I was able to speak to the archivist who was on shift during the incident, Emily Bench, at my favourite dive bar, just on the edge of SharkCon. I headed down into the dive bar. Vape fumes filled the air. People were chugging milkshakes like there was no tomorrow. I saw her. I sat down. I put my vape on the table, and I began with my opening gambit. So, Emily, lovely to meet you.
You too. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So can you just talk us through how you leaked the footage?
I didn't leak the footage.
Damn it, she was a hard nut to crack. So instead, I asked her about her job.
Well, I am the lead archivist, as my mother was before me and her mother was before her. We are born, raised and thrive underneath the ground in the archives. And until recently, when the archives were shut down for police investigations, I had never seen daylight, I suppose. And so that's why I'm meeting you here, where it's night and the sun can't burn my skin into my veins. Okay, that's why.
She was clearly a nervous wreck. Her hands were shaking like Prawn Boy when he was about to be put on the giant barbecue by Dr. Dinosaur. She was going to have to let something slip. I asked her about her daily routine to see if I could try and catch her out.
In a normal day, I will wake up in my archive bed and I will walk to the archive kitchen, to make myself some archive toast. And then I will take my archive toast and my archive tea through to my booth, from which I can see the entirety of the Sharkman archives, all organised by year, date and Rotten Tomatoes score. We have the films, the movies, the TV shows, the off-cuts, funny bloopers, sad bloopers, outtakes where the actors are visibly in pain, and of course a sub-archive for all the selfies of the CEO.
That sounds amazing. What sort of things? Are there more exclusive things we haven't seen?
Well, I couldn't tell you any of the exact contents. I swore an oath, as did my mother and my grandmother before me, to protect, serve and maintain the various vids and pics.
Anyway, stop distracting me. I know your game. You're not having me on, Emily Bench. I want to know exactly what happened. I paused just to check my notes because I'd forgotten the time, and then I got back to it. Between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. at the Sharkman archives.
I was sat in my booth on my spinny chair doing my hourly rotation and visual scan of the entire archive. So I begin at 12 o'clock, the position as opposed to the time, but I begin there, and I very slowly turn on my spinny chair, and I scan each and every shelf, one per second, because the archive is very, very large, and it takes me 1 hour to scan the whole area by spinning in my spinny chair very, very slowly.
It's a lovely image, Emily, but it doesn't answer my question. What happened to that test footage?
As I was scanning my 241st shelf, which would have made it 11:04, I heard a crash and the sounds of a door being kicked down, and I saw Will, head of story for Sharkman Studios, striding into the archive.
How did you know it was Will? It could have been anyone.
Because he strode up to the booth and knocked on the glass, waved at me, and I waved back. Then he pointed to himself and he said, "I'm Will, head of story for Sharkman Studios." After we had introduced ourselves, he skipped down towards the shelves, did 3 cartwheels in succession, and then grabbed a DVD from the nearest shelf, looked at it, licked it. I remember him growling, but that might be my imagination. He growled and then he threw it on the floor, and then proceeded to walk up and down each aisle, and he was grabbing DVDs from the walls, growling again, roaring at the sky, and then throwing them onto the floor. And when he wasn't growling or roaring, he was shouting, "Where's the dark squid test footage? Where is it? Where's the dark squid test footage? I want to leak it."
Emily Bench, if he was destroying your archive, why didn't you stop him?
He is Will. He's head of story at Sharkman Studios. I am sure that he had a good reason for doing what he did, for destroying my system, my life's work, my mother's life's work, and my grandmother's before her.
Sorry, can you let go of my wrist, please? Your nails are really digging in.
Oh, sorry. It's just, we train from infancy to do this. our life's work to guard the hall, to keep the secrets, to protect the spoilers from all those who might do them harm.
She was digressing, trying to distract me from the truth. So I slammed my hand on the table. I told her to stay on track and tell me what happened.
Then he carried on down aisle 393. He pulled every single box off of the shelf till finally he found the box which contains the unreleased test footage for the Dark Squid remake. And then he yelled, I found it, I found it, I found the Dark Squid test footage, I'm going to leak it. So he had canister in arms, he skipped, high-kneed, back near to where I'm sitting in the booth. And he asked me where we were keeping the projector screen. And I gestured to the cabinet on the right-hand side of where I was sitting, and he retrieved the projector screen from that cabinet, and then he asked me where the projector stand was, and I pointed him to the cabinet on the left-hand side of where I was sitting, and he retrieved both of these items and proceeded to assemble a projector screen, and then he asked me if I had an extension cable, and I didn't, so he plugged the projector in, and it was at an odd angle. It was projecting slightly tilted to the left, which was fine. He put the film in, and then he projected onto the screen the Dark Squid test footage. So then he whipped out his phone, his mobile phone, and began recording the footage that was being projected. And he yelled, I'm not sure who to, but he raised his head to the ceiling and sort of shouted it up to there. I'm going to leak this! I'm going to leak this!
Emily, I'd love to believe that little fairy tale, but the truth is, I don't, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Just so you wait and see.
Sorry, are you a real detective?
Look, I will not play your little mind trick. I'm not going to get roped into this when my listeners demand the truth.
Listeners?
Yeah?
What is this? Is this a podcast?
She was giving me nothing, so it was time to go.
Okay, so there's a wealth of evidence that it was Will.
Ferg, I still had some investigating to do, so can you just chill out and let me finish?
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So I downed my milkshake, I slammed it on the table, and I walked out of the dive bar. She'd almost cracked. She'd almost given me the evidence I wanted. But now it was time for my final suspect.
Oh, there's another one. Okay, just get through it.
So I went to a place that I knew almost too well to conduct my final interview. So, Ferg, what were you doing between the hours of 11 p.m. and 12 a.m?
Sorry, am I the third suspect?
I wouldn't say if you were.
Well, you did just say, and then I went to interview the third suspect, and then you asked me where I was when the crime happened.
Well, maybe we're just having a chat. Maybe we're just two friends just talking about what you were up to between those 2 hours when the footage got leaked.
But I know you're doing an investigation. I've been sat here while you record a whole podcast about the investigation.
Ferg, I'm sick of this. You're pretending you know everything about detective work. You're pretending you...
When have I done that?
You're pretending that Will did it. So...
Okay, fine. Okay, I'm a suspect. Okay, ask me your questions. Why am I a suspect?
You're a suspect because, number one, you run one of the most popular podcasts about Sharkman in the world.
Yep.
Next to, like, Chris and Chris Across the Seas, a couple other ones.
Great. Yeah,
they're all great. Number two, you love that content.
I do.
Number three, you know Will. You're a notorious associate of Will's.
We both are, in the exact same way.
And you're obsessed with Dark Squid.
Look, yes, all those things are true, but I don't see why that singles me out as a suspect.
Just tell me what you're up to between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. then.
Fine, I will. I was here recording the podcast with you.
As if I'm going to believe that. I have no recollection of that happening.
Yeah, Jack, because you were chugging apple juice the whole time. You were on a sugar high. And I had to hold down that whole episode this last Wednesday, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that does check out. I was fully hungover the next day.
I was pumping out the hot takes, pumping out the goss, and you were just like agreeing.
Sorry, I'd just been on the phone with my mum before we recorded that one, and she was like crying, saying Chris wasn't the same. Like, she's not the man she loves.
Jack, you're getting away from the point.
Okay.
What possible evidence do you have that I could have done this?
Well, Ferg, while your alibi might check out,
Very much.
I went on your phone this morning
What?
and I looked at your texts, Ferg,
Oh my god. Jack,
and I saw that you texted, and I quote, "I leaked the Dark Squid test footage, lol, kiss."
Jack, can I see the phone?
No?
Jack, show me the phone.
No?
Give me my phone. Jack, this is a text from Will.
What?
Okay, so the speech bubbles on the right.
Yeah.
That means they're sent by this phone, by
Okay.
me. The speech bubbles on the left are coming from someone else, and from whoever the name at the top is, Will.
Right, okay.
What you're showing me is a text from Will, who you keep insisting did not do this, just by all evidence to the contrary. A text from Will saying he did this.
I was wondering why at the bottom of that text it said, "You cannot reply to this number."
Yeah, he's only able to text me. I can't respond back. Jack, look, you've been, this whole time, you just keep refusing to see what's right in front of you, the plain truth, confessed by Will and by multiple other witnesses, that Will leaked this footage.
Ferg, I can't accept that.
He clearly just leaked this footage in order to generate publicity for the Dark Squid reboot.
What? I refuse to believe that, Ferg. Why on earth would you do that? Why on earth would someone release the footage of the film that they were going to make in order to generate hype? It just doesn't make sense.
I know it doesn't make sense, Jack, but once you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, is probably the truth about the Dark Squid reboot test footage.
Ferg, not only does it not make any sense, if Will did it, then he's going to have to face Sharkman's security, and we all know the stories about them. They do horrible, horrible things to you, and you never get heard from again.
Look, Jack, all I'm observing is the facts. Will said he was going to do it, visibly did it, while he was doing it, said he was doing it, and then afterwards said he had done it. That's all I'm saying, Jack.
I did it, Ferg.
What?
I did it. Maybe the Sharkman security people need to take me away instead of Will. Because if they take Will away, then we might not even get that Dark Squid reboot. He's head of story, Ferg. What would happen if the head of story was taken away and disappeared?
Look, Jack, I'm as scared as you are, but you did it? There's no evidence for that. What are you talking about?
I did it. I snuck in behind Will, and then... And
then why did no one see you,
No,
Jack?
I was dressed as Will.
You were
No,
dressed...
I took the phone off Will after he filmed it and I leaked it.
Jack, none of this is making sense. How come the butler saw everything he saw?
Because he's a liar. Because they're all actors.
They're actors.
Because they're all in on it. They're
You
all
paid
in on
them
it.
off.
I paid. They're all my. I don't know,
Jack, this
Ferg.
doesn't work.
Look, I don't know. I just don't want Will to go to prison, Ferg.
That doesn't mean you have to go to prison, Jack.
I did it.
Jack,
I did it.
I won't let you do this, Jack.
Sharkman Studios, I did it. I leaked the footage.
No, Sharma Studios, he's lying. He's covering for me.
What?
Jack, I won't let you go down like this. I did it. Jack was right. I love content. I've got the most to gain from this. I wanted that sweet content so I could have exclusive access to it and tell everyone about it.
I knew you did it.
No, I'm not actually. I'm just
I
covering
knew
for
you
Jack.
did it, Ferg.
No, Jack.
I knew you leaked the footage.
Yes, you're right.
That's it.
I leaked
There
the
we
footage.
are. I'm going to call the police.
Call the police on
I'm
me.
going to call the police on you and then we'll be done with this whole mess.
Get your phone out and call them.
Oh,
What?
just got a little email.
Oh,
Just got a little email. Should we read that out before I call the police?
we may as well. It's always good to do emails at the end.
Let's just
and
do
given
the
that I'm going
emails
to
at
get
the
taken
end.
away forever, and we won't do the podcast again with me on it.
Let's do it then. Okay. It's from Sharkman Studios,
Interesting.
and the title of the email, all caps.
Yeah.
The Phantom Leaker has been found.
Is found also spelled with a PH, like phantom.
Yeah, it is, and there's a little emoji of someone in prison.
Nice.
I'm just gonna open that. Oh, I hope they haven't caught Will already, Ferg. Following strenuous investigations, we can confirm that both Will's butler and the archivist leaked the footage themselves.
I knew it.
I knew it.
I called it actually. When you were
I knew
saying
it. Yeah.
earlier when they said about because obviously they did. Cause
When they
obviously
lied about Will.
Yeah. Because the way I called it, I know I didn't say it at the time.
Yeah.
but I did call it.
Me too, Ferg.
Earlier on,
I
called
knew
the
from
twist.
the beginning. I knew from the off.
It was so obvious.
And I think, whatever happens to them, whatever horrible thing happens to them, they deserve it.
Yeah, of course. Well, it wouldn't, because the law wouldn't be the law, and it wouldn't happen to them if it wasn't just and they didn't deserve it.
No, exactly.
Otherwise, how come it would have become a law? That doesn't make sense.
That's what the law's all about. So, Ferg, are you saying that my detective work worked?
Why would I be saying that?
Because I interviewed both of the suspects, Ferg.
Right.
I met them both. And I talked to them about what happened.
But you didn't actually get any evidence as to how they did it.
I just think it's clear what the listeners want more of.
Don't say it.
Jack detective.
Don't.
Jack as a detective.
No.
The Jack detective bit of the podcast that we forgot about that I've brought back. And so,
Jack, give me the mic.
I step outside the Sharkman head. I step outside. I stood in the doorway and looked out at SharkCon. Another mystery solved by me. Jack the detective. I inhale my vape. And exhale, watching that sweet blue vapour drift over a panoramic view of SharkCon. And as the sun set on another day,
There's no sun.
I smile at a city safe again from those who might spoil what a little bit of test footage looks like on the film.
Christ. This has been Just Another Sharkman podcast, starring Jack Bradfield as Jack, Fergus Macdonald as Fergus, Ben Chamberlain as Mortimer McDuffet, and Emily Rosannah Davis as Emily Bench. Music and editing by Fergus Macdonald. Artwork by Niamh Simpson. Tune in again for more Sharkman news tomorrow. And the day after that. And the day after that.